Hello there, I'm Brandon Schweitzer, back again with the second in a three-part series entitled Profiles in Excellence. I'm the Dean of the Maurice R. Greenberg School of Risk Management, Insurance and Actuarial Science at St. John's University, Queens, New York. We've already had one program in this series in partnership with our friends at Insider Engage. And for those of you who may not have seen the last one, this is about interviews we're having with some students who were winners of a contest entitled Student Innovation in Insurance. It's aimed to promote their awareness of key issues in the industry and help them both personally develop their research skills and hone their presentation skills. The judging of this contest was held in the spring semester just passed under the auspices of the Greenberg School Center for the study of insurance regulation, and in support was supported by the Society for Law and Insurance, the chairman of which is John Pruitt of Eversheds, one of the firms along with Greenberg Traurig, Kennedy's, Mount Cotton, Wallen, and Greengrass, who were backers of this program and contest, as well as faculty member from the Greenberg School of Risk Management, Professor Jean Kwan. In our last session, we talked about the winning entries, and when we spoke to the undergraduate winners, who were Hannah Mangeron, Grace Comas, and Connor Davidson, we got at least an introduction of how they came to bring this to the fore. Their entry to the fore, it was called a risk. It was about a risk matrix. Hannah, you were the spokesperson, and you did a terrific job basically saying that your group came from a standing start on this after talking about risk matrices in one of your early classes. You were all freshmen. Do you want to speak further, or do you want to pass the mic to one of your teammates? Anna?
Being a team, I'm going to be passing it off to my teammates, Connor and Grace.
You've said all you can say about how you got started. Okay. So
Yes.
who's next up?
Yeah, so I can talk about that a little bit.
Go ahead, Grace. Go ahead. Grace Comas.
Yeah, it was kind of our professor who helped us out with it, but it really just came from a place that we wanted to learn more about the industry and learn more about the work we were learning in class. So we figured that the best way to do that would just to dive right into an issue that is in the industry and do like further research with each other and with the professor. And that's definitely what we got out of it. I felt like we all came out of this contest and were able to better understand not only risk matrices, which was what our proposal was on, but just the industry as a whole.
Okay. You passing it to Connor, or do you want me to ask Connor another question, or Connor, are you prepared to deal with the same question? Do you concur with your partners? I guess you do, but what else would you say about how you got into this game?
It was mainly thanks to our professor, who pretty much pushed us to really take initiative with this competition. And after really looking at it and actually getting this experience, I think it was well worth it. But overall, Grace summarized it pretty well.
So the thrill of winning was not as important as impressing your. Well, I shouldn't even ask.
It was more for the experience. We honestly came into this not expecting to win.
Okay.
We got to the second part of the contest where we actually got an interview with the panel. Then it was kind of like, all right, maybe we can actually win this and do something with it. But at first, it was kind of just like, oh yeah, we'll enter this. We'll learn more.
John, John Pruitt?
Yeah, well, you guys won on the merits of the proposal and the presentation. So I just for the benefit of those watching, Grace, maybe you can tell us how you would see this matrix being used in practical application in real life scenarios.
Yeah, so we talked about that in our presentation a lot, just because as freshmen, we have the next 4 years and hopefully even after to do something with the research that we conducted. So with the matrix that we presented, if you combine it with risk attitude, it would be a really good way for companies to measure profitability. And that was something that we really talked about in our project. We also mentioned Connor and Hannah, if you guys want to chime in, you can, of course. Like a day-to-day training that could be implemented in companies where they would be able to learn how to use a risk matrix and apply it to their everyday work with risk or just different things they could do in their company.
Connor,
Chime in for a quick second.
yeah, go ahead, Connor.
Just to add on to that as well, like the way we plan to actually implement our thing is primarily for shareholders and potential investors as well, who can still read it as it's still like a very universal format. The only difference is the dots, which most likely could be explained by a little key following it, but it's supposed to help provide insight into how exactly a company manages their risks and how willing they are to take said risks, to provide a deeper insight for investors.
Okay. I sense what we have to do for our audience here is to delve a little deeper into exactly what your idea is with the matrix. We'll probably do that in the third segment in this series. But so in the remaining time we have in this one, Mohammed, I'd like to come back to you. You put up an entry regarding captives and CDOs, and you were pretty clear in why you brought this forward. Looking ahead, the undergrads have 3 more years as students to perfect their work and to bring it to marketplace. You're a graduate student already out in the world working. What's next for you with your captive idea?
Well, I believe this is a doable idea, and I think it fits very well with the portfolio of services that large advisory firms and brokerage firms such as Guy Carpenter or Aon provide. And let's say you're a parent company and you want to establish a captive. You go to Aon, they tell you, okay, we can do a feasibility study of this captive. We can give you capital advisory, and obviously we can manage this captive for you. And here is another vehicle and CDO through which you can finance some parts of the capital that you need for your captive. So I believe I'm not sure where I end up after graduation, but I believe this is a solution that these large firms can use and add it to their services and make the package of their services complete.
Okay, John, any follow up on that? We're running down on time for this segment, but anything you want to add here?
Yeah. Briefly, Mo, if you could, you believe there's a market opportunity for this, and if you could just expand a little bit on what you said is, where you really perceive the true sweet spot in terms of who would benefit most from this product.
Sure. Well, I understand establishing captive. It's a costly decision for many companies. Fortune 500 companies, that's not a big deal for them. But mid-sized companies, smaller companies, they have to think about the money they have to put into this captive. Okay. And surplus notes, they come as a hybrid instruments that have some aspects of equity capital and some aspects of debt capital. So their cost is sometimes between reinsurance and equity. And in some markets like now, where when interest rates are very low, you can issue surplus notes that are less costly than reinsurance and use it as a source of capital for your captive. So that would enable mid-sized companies to establish their captives and make captives much more affordable for them.
Thanks, Mohammed. We're about out of time, folks, viewers, for this segment. We have one more in this series to go that the folks at Insider Edge are going to put up on the site. So for now, I'm going to sign off, and with thanks to our student contestants and to John Pruitt, and we'll see you in a bit of time with the third in this series. Thank you very much.